What is going on, everybody? Antonius, the gamer here with Super SSS Rank. We
Excuse
are
me.
the Press Start Select podcast. Unfortunately, Mikkel Smith could not make it for tonight, but we will be holding it down in his stead. S Rank, how we feeling tonight? How we feeling tonight, bro?
Uh, doing some changes, man. Getting switching to a new room, new location in the house. So still underway. Got some allergies, so bear with me. Just sneezing. I'll be fine tomorrow morning.
I,
But yeah,
I
as of right now, that's it.
okay. I mean, on my end, not too much coming up. I mean, doing a little vacay, a little getaway this weekend. So I'm grateful for that. It's definitely a privilege in these times. But it's
Hmm.
definitely needed. Sometimes you just like on a mental aspect, it's like I just need to kind of just press the pause button real just for a little bit and kind of come back to this. Yeah. So
100.
but we're still gonna give our all for this pod tonight. That being said, before we kind of get started into our main topics, you've been playing Monster Hunter Wilds. How's your experience been with the game so far?
Okay. It's I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Um, Only thing I would say is, to be fair, I do like Worlds just a little bit more
Okay.
because of the world of Worlds and there was more monsters.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So right now with Wilds, I was just expecting Wilds to be a little bit more a step above World
Okay.
because I wanted what they presented during the E3 trailer and the demo was like the seeker, you'll control the seeker yourself. But there's a lot of things that are automated in the
Mm,
movement.
mm,
And in Rise, the dog wasn't automated. You controlled the dog yourself, you
mm.
know? So I think some of those things from Rise they should have incorporated in this game. And I also thought it was a little too easy,
Okay.
but I only got through I just opened the world to a different hunter rank. I just made it to hunter rank 10. So um excuse me. I'm reaching in-game monsters now. But I still feel like it was a little too easy compared to Monster Hunter World. With Wilds, I appreciate the open world and the environment's changing, but there's just something, a charm that Monster Hunter World had that this one is I feel like it's missing.
Mm,
And for what I wanted, for what they were presenting, I'm tired of these open worlds, right? If you're gonna do an open world, that's one thing, but let me actually go up the mountain that you're showing me in the background that you keep displaying if you're
mm,
gonna give me an open world Monster Hunter game. I appreciated in Worlds that level of discovery of finding a new monster, not knowing what you'll encounter, doing an investigation, you're seeing lead, okay, what monster is this? And you discover that it's just a completely different monster you've never seen before. So that level of discovery and searching for monsters, because not every monster just spawns. You have to
mm,
do an investigation
mm.
to find that monster, or you
Track
have to
its
hunt this
movements or
monster.
where it
Yeah, like
got
just
you.
like the Nature
Mm,
Channel.
mm,
And I loved some of those elements. I thought those things were super fun and the challenge of building your armor. It was super in depth. With this, it just feels it's a little too I don't know why companies think that, oh, let's make it easier. That's what got people here in the first place. No, it's because it was challenging. People came here. So like the same reason that people came to you is the same reason you should also try to keep them to stay. You can probably meet them halfway. That's okay, but don't like at the expense of you just wanting more numbers on the a roster. Want more players
but I mean,
because now is this is the first time. Think about it, this is the first time it's been cross-platform.
mhm.
So you have more access to the pie. Like, hey, yo, you don't even have to worry about getting it on PlayStation. You could get it with us, and you could still play. I think that does what you want people to. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but I do think it's kind of one of the I don't want to even call it a necessary evil, but maybe like a necessary compromise once a series gets to a certain point, right? So like obviously I always draw a lot of parallels to the music industry, for example. Maybe sometimes it's not the best one for one, but like think about like the artists that you knew during the mixtape era, right? Of like, man, like you guys have been sleeping on so and so, right? They mixtapes just like tracks 1 through 12 out of 16 are just fire, and then they get signed to a major label, and then their album drops, and it's still pretty good. It still has the general formula of what made you enjoy. Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa is a perfect example. His mixtape run leading up to his debut album, phenomenal. Phenomenal. But his album still had those elements, but you could see there was a little bit more mainstream leaning than what we were used to. Still good, but not in the same vein. But obviously, it exposed him to more people. And I feel like your review so far, it kind of reflects what I've heard from most people who've been playing Monster Hunter, at least in Monster Hunter Worlds. They're like, hey, they like Worlds a little bit better. There's a bit more depth there. But I think there's also that aspect of like, I could see why Capcom would want to make Wilds the way they did to appeal to players like me, right? Where like I'm not necessarily a Monster Hunter fan, but one of the things that I told you, I'm like, I'm not trying to do a 45-minute boss fight.
No, that's
And they don't
cool.
have that anymore, you know? So I'm
That's
like,
cool. Yeah,
you know,
that's cool. But I don't think you should totally get rid of it, and I at the same time I welcome it. But it you just lose the. If it was more intense of a fight, then I wouldn't mind fighting it for
mm,
10 minutes.
I see.
But it's like that gradual of the monster wrapping up its combat came with the time.
Mm,
Now, if the monster winds up wrapping up its attacks, that's different. And another thing that really, the environments had way more of a personality. What
mm,
do I mean? There's a part in Monster Hunter World where you're fighting the Rathlos, and you're fighting the Rathlos throughout the entire jungle. It's like it sticks with you.
mm,
So it's like a desperation. Like because you guys are traveling different. Now each environment has its perks. You can poison it now because there's poison plants.
mm,
Um, if it goes to this area, you could drop another boulder on its head. If it goes to this area, you can make it get caught in the vines. And then you can tee off on it. And then my favorite part, you guys scale up to like its roost. And unfortunately, the Rafflos is blocked by a dam. And so now you guys are fighting. You get it to run into the dam. The water just rushes and slide. You guys do like a 200-foot drop.
mm,
And if you catch your footing, you could land and give extra damage with fall damage included on top of the raffle. And that right there was just like
mm,
very satisfying environmental interactions. And you had this for a number of different areas. And so that's what I appreciated more. With Monster Hunter World, I mean, with Wilds, you just don't get that. A lot of the monsters are cool; they're way more unique. But a lot of the monsters I had in the world were more fun, and to me, they were like it's like a how do I say? It was like a bond you made with the monster.
okay.
Fighting Nurkigante, fighting even the Pookie Pookie, because that's like your first introduction to a monster and learning how to deal with it. Or even my favorite monsters, the Brachydios, Glavenos, the giant reptile with a tail, a sword tail, and he sharpens it with his teeth to attack
Mm,
you.
mm,
Those things are like where you meet the animal's personality, or the Nurgakuga, where it literally has bladed wings and it just like it'll dive and som, and it just if your entire teammates right there, it's all three fates. Mission failed right away.
mm,
Those things were a spectacle and fun. You like the animal falling asleep because you guys tranquilized it, and you guys setting up an entire bomb, and you guys get the guy with the hammer to charge up, and he flings one of your comrades into the air, and he's charging up, and then you run on the wall, and then da 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 da, or the Rajang, the Super Saiyan monkey that you probably seen one time, where he throws you on the ground, he charges up, and then he turns into raging he goes 3 levels. He
mm,
turns Super Saiyan and he turns Super Saiyan again, and then it's at that point it's mayhem. So those things were super fun because of the challenge and just the overall things you could do. And I was expecting more from this, like more interaction with the environment. I'm kind of tired of now. I see a rock. cliffside, and I can't just run up it with my seeker. I have to use the seeker for too many things, you know. So
So it's kind of like
but
it's what I'm kind of gathering is like it's like a lot of the same things are present, but it's like lacking in intensity.
it's
Essentially,
lacking in
like
intensity, and
mm,
like if you're gonna give me you didn't one up world.
okay,
I wanted a one up on world. Like, okay,
mm,
if I couldn't swim, let me swim now. If I couldn't, if you're gonna give me an open world, let me have access to the entire world. I want to scale up the mountain and fight on that cliffside.
mm,
Why can't I? If you're gonna present to me an open world, don't make it claustrophobic. Like Dragon's Dogma, for example. I hate Dragon's Dogma 2, world, because it's the most claustrophobic game. You're showing me all these canopies and peaks and mountains, but I can't interact with it.
mm,
Versus where you see something like Zelda, that mountaintop I'm looking at, I could actually climb it.
mm.
And I could fight there if there's any enemies there. So that's my whole thing.
I mean,
Um,
that's fair.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
fair.
and I think it's possible, especially with the graphics. It's not as rich in color. That's another thing.
But remember,
There's the
I
go
said
for
that
the
when
cinematic.
when they were showing the previews, I was like, it doesn't look what I'm used to. Again, Monster Hunter to me, I'm like, it's distinctly Monster Hunter. I see, I'm like, this is Hunter immediately. But I said that previously before this game came out. I was like, it kind of seemed like there's like either a filter or they turn the saturation down or
I was,
something. Like it just doesn't seem as like color
yeah,
rich
vibrant.
as I'm used to.
Yeah, and that's one of my another frustration. Like this whole, I think Monster Hunter World story, I enjoyed it more because it was just a charm to it.
Mm,
It was, it wasn't trying to go for like this Jurassic Park. Uh, I'm just my entire village was wiped out by this monster. Oh my gosh! And now I want to be friends with the monster because it's not its fault. Like, no,
mm,
Uh, you give me sword, I turn you into clothes.
mm,
I don't care if you're Peter. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I'm gonna make me these Rathalos ones,
mm,
and I'm gonna stomp on another Rathalos. You feel me? I'm gonna make
mm,
these Nerd Gigante twos, and I'm a tee up for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
mm.
that's what I want. I want drip.
No,
I want to sing that last verse of Cameron. I go to war, meet folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You a
I feel you.
stewardess, mommy? Yeah, I'm fly too. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, man. That's what I want.
Mm,
And so that's what I just enjoy a lot of the Monsters and Worlds more. But I think it's unfair because it might be a little unfair because Iceborne really changed
yeah,
Monster
like
Hunter
you
World.
can't. To
But
me, I'm like, it's not fair to. I know that sounds crazy because technically a sequel should do more, but I'm like, you can't put an expansion on the same. Like
uh,
it's easier to build on than build up. If that
and
makes
I
sense.
wanted, and also there's weapons that I felt like World should have already had, but they didn't. Like there's weapons that we don't have access to. Don't you think that makes variety more fun? That we had in other Monster Hunter games. I think they need more weapons, and I wanted more styles for each and every weapon. Like, does Monster Hunter games where the greatsword has up to 3 different styles of how you can use it?
Mm,
Like, where's that at? Like, give us a game we want to play. You know what I'm saying? Give us a game that, like, it doesn't have to be uh grounded. You can make the balance and weight. It can still be there, and we can just do extra moves. You could have made Rise have more weight to it,
mm.
and you can still do the crazy bombastic things. But for whatever reason, they have a hard time or just want, like, you know what? They need to listen to Sakurai. That's bottom line.
Mm.
Take Sakurai's advice.
For those who don't
Yeah,
know, Sakurai basically, and I'm completely summarizing what he said, is that the main thing when Japanese game developers lose their way is when they try to appeal strictly to Western audiences instead of realizing that Western audiences appreciate what makes the Japanese uniquely Japanese.
that's why we like Monster Hunter.
Mm,
I don't want my armor to look like Elden Ring. Hey, if it's in there, thank you.
hmm
But I actually like the fact that all of the armor is inspired by the animal. That's what makes you guys' game unique,
right.
you know? Um, and
Sometimes the
that's
writing gets wonky, right? But that's the thing that we find. That's why Bayonetta has been charming for so many years. Of like, this is so ridiculous and something that doesn't feel like it would come out of an English studio, like an American based studio.
Couldn't
And
come
I'm
off an
fine with
English
it.
studio.
Right.
That
I'm
would
fine with
stop you
it.
every inch of the way.
Yeah. You want her to do what? So like I think to me, I'm like, again, I still feel like for me, I'm more of I do appreciate a level of visual flair in my combat. So like I joked last time about wanting my Zanzetsuken in the game to some degree, but I think there is a balance between that, right? Because
No, there were.
if that
You
was
could
the
have done the
case,
Zanzetsuken and
no,
the
but like
other
if that
Monsters.
was the case, it was like then Final Fantasy 16 should be one of my favorite games ever. But to me, that thing was all flash and no substance. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, I'm like the
Well,
Final Fantasy 7
you were
remake.
lied to in the advertisement,
Yes,
so
yeah.
it's
Because
not your fault.
like I look at Final Fantasy 7 remake and rebirth, I'm like, this is kind of in line of what I personally enjoy. Of like, there's a lot of depth, depth to the combat systems. It's there. A lot of the things do feel grounded to a certain degree, but some of it's also like, yo, this man is a super soldier. I want to feel like a super soldier. Like they kind of give me the best of both worlds. Of like, here's some realism, but come on now, like we know why you're here. Pretty much, you want to have Advent children in the palm of your hand, and we're gonna do our best to give it to you. Yeah, so that's like I said, I think your review kind of lines up more with what I've heard with Wilds. I think 8 million copies is no small feat. I'm sure Capcom is going to do what they need to do to make sure that fan base stays well fed. It's a money printer for them at this point. So I don't see this Capcom. Not saying Capcom might not revert to their old ways at some point, because all companies, they just suppress it. It never goes away. They just suppress some of their bad habits. I think they're gonna just do more to make sure that their IPs that are thriving continue to thrive in like a healthy environment. I don't think we're
Yeah,
gonna
it felt a
see.
little too safe.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
again, like I think sometimes you cast a wider net to pull more people in, and then kind of build from there, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, maybe the tutorial is a little bit more beginner friendly than it ever was before, and that's what turns somebody into a Monster Hunter fan. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'd be curious to know what the angle was when they decided they wanted to go with this game. But transitioning into our gaming big news segment. Again, this is another week where not a lot happened, but the things that did happen have so many angles to them. The first thing being, obviously, of course, the most delayed, one of the more controversial titles over the past couple of months for some odd reason. Assassin's Creed Shadows is out. It's not out, but it's in early access, which pretty much means it's out. Reviews are dropping. All your favorite content creators have already uploaded their reviews from the review copies. It's officially released at this point. Day one patches, notes have already been, it's out basically. And it's funny because the game review wise seems to kind of be in line of what we all said in previous pods of like, this looks pretty good. And the reviews are like, it's pretty good, right? Like it's not something that's going to bring you back to the Assassin's Creed franchise if you're off it. It's not something that revolutionizes the formula. It's not going to be the single game that saves Ubisoft, but it's pretty good, right? And my thought to that is, like I said before, I think Shadows kind of gets an unfair rep because it was being developed during the time where like the perception of Ubisoft changed, right? So it's like Far Cry 6, kind of not bad, but Then you get Star Wars Outlaws, which is divisive at best, let's say.
Star Wars Outlaws.
And you have people who do really like it, but you share those clips, and I was like, this is not. This ain't.
Should have just been Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
3.0.
Yeah. Like y'all are making those Respawn games look even better at this point, by comparison. So I think like Shadows kind of got that unfair aspect of like, there was more eyes on it because Ubisoft kept having so many back-to-back failures. Prince of Persia, for as much as I picked that game up, in Ubisoft eyes, was a financial failure. So I think Shadows kind of got put on this platform where you can kind of tell that it wasn't maybe meant to be the thing that it ended up having to be. You know, it's like when the Cash Money Great Departure came, it's like instead of going to Lil Wayne, they told Lil Chucky to get up there and do his best. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it ain't. We're not getting the Carter 2 bars. Is basically what I'm trying to say. You know, like. So, what do you think about the reception to Shadow? Do you think that is something that were you surprised by any of the reviews you might have come across, or surprised about the
I didn't
general
think it was going
reception?
to be a good game. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be a good game only because
Mm,
it's Ubisoft. They're just trash.
mm,
You know, like they're not to me, they're not special.
mm. I mean, they. I don't want to say they're not special. I think they've kind of lost what made them special, in
No,
my
but
opinion.
nobody who was special is there anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
It's like Tampa, for example, the Patriots. Is anybody talking about the Patriots anymore?
Fair.
No, because there's no Tom Brady, there's no XYZ,
Mm,
there's no Elliott, there's no Randy Moss. It's not
mm,
it's not
mm.
the Patriots anymore. And so like is it the Miami 3? Is 2010 Miami Heat? No, it's not.
Right.
Nobody, you know,
It's the
so
2025
it's
Miami Heat.
yeah, it's just a bunch of no names, no aspiration, no good writers. All of them only got to creative writing one, and that was it. And that's that. You see
Mm,
that there. I didn't think it was going to be a good game. I didn't think anybody was gonna. I didn't think it was gonna sell. I just think there were certain things that weren't wise protagonist wise as far as
mm,
the who they chose. If you were gonna, you should have just did three protagonists. That would have worked. Two Asian people, then Yasuke. In my opinion, that would have been a perfect out of perfect. Um, but the flack I didn't understand because you can find Yasuke in Neo.
mm,
He's in Neo.
mm.
Obsidian Samurai. I don't know who you guys think that is, but
Pretty
it's
clear.
a pretty clear. And so for me, you hear different things from different people, different Japanese folks, just Japanese folks that tell you no, Yasuke was a real. So it's like I don't know where they go. Is it willful ignorance? Because I knew about Yasuke 10 years ago,
Hmm. He
just
had a
like
whole
people learn
Netflix
about.
animated series, and
Yeah,
I don't remember seeing this much like outrage of it being greenlit. You know,
yeah.
like
So there's a lot of things I don't understand. Like, okay, why? Okay, where was this outrage for? uh not Marvel vs. Capcom, Resident Evil 5, right? Okay. I myself didn't get offended, right? Cool. What else if you're in Africa? What else? Who else? And there's zombies there. What else is gonna happen? You're gonna
hmm
be. Do I think Chris Redfield's a racist? No. I
right.
just understood within the context of Resident Evil, which was made by Japanese people, they didn't find anything offensive about it. So now why find anything offensive about if you know this outsider works for Nobunaga, who else is he gonna fight?
Hmm.
Who else is he gonna kill?
And I guess
You
like
know?
I don't know if it's just there's like a shift at some point. Like before we started recording, I kind of brought up Ghost of Tsushima, which I will bring up again during this conversation. But to me, I'm like, since when was historical accuracy this important? I can't recall. I can't recall God of War being like Icarus wasn't even alive at this time. How is Kratos using his wings? Like since when? Why is this game being held to the highest pinnacle of historical accuracy?
Well, because the person now, even though Kratos was probably designed to be a brother. I
Mm,
don't know if you ever unlocked that skin for Forgotten Warrior
mm,
for
mm,
God of War 3.
mm.
You can pull it up, Forgotten Warrior skin, and you
Okay,
tell me what you think.
okay.
It's, it's a black dude. You feel me? He got the
Mm,
dreads and the whole armor. Um, but yeah, I don't understand this duality. Like it's not consistent. And that's my only thing. And when you point it out, it's like, oh man, stop. It's not race baiting. It's just you are so close to the thing that you say you're not.
mm,
This is the same rhetoric those people who do hate say. So it's very hard for anybody to differentiate you and you being insensitive and well, you don't even have to care, but you like if you do differentiate yourself and you're not, don't use vocabulary to kind of put yourself there. That's
Mm,
all I'm saying.
mm,
For your well-being, for your sake, for people to hear your voice versus grouping you with a bunch of people just casting you off to the side because you sound just like them.
right,
Um, I just didn't understand the outrage because I'm like, yo, Yasuke wasn't even a bad person. It's getting to the point to like, oh, he didn't exist. I mean, they they have his name there for a reason. It's not off of no if it's not off of nothing.
right,
So like people read the sources and they can't even prove whether it is or not. They just don't want it to be something.
right. Well, we
So
can't prove that he didn't, but we can't prove that he did. So therefore, why is he doing it? I'm like,
and then
again, this is a
you have
fictional game.
and then exactly so like we know Leonardo da Vinci wasn't making devices for Ezio,
Right.
but you
I'm
let
like,
him
it's
do
not
it
a historical retelling. None of them have been from day one.
from day one. And at the same time, how many people does Desmond? So you use a machine called the algorithm or whatever, and it's Desmond again, Asian Desmond, Samoan Desmond, African Desmond, uh, Arab Desmond. So I'm like, yo, y'all ain't got no problem with. I'm like, this storyline was trash. Like it was getting crazy to me.
Hmm.
Native American Desmond. So
Right.
I'm like,
My
at what
man just had
point,
a whole entire lineage of alphas. It was just.
Sweden Desmond? You feel me? Like, and I'm just okay. Y'all boys are like, yo, when is this gonna end? Like, honestly, um, for those that are for those that are having problems with the character being real, like this character is not a created. This conversation and documentaries are already on Yasuke that pre-existed, not influenced by Japanese people that found it interesting.
Yeah.
I
That.
remember Yasuke when I was like what, 10 years ago, 2009, 2007, when I discovered, Afro Samurai is inspired by,
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? So
No,
it's
yeah.
it's not
That's.
you
But
have
that's
and
all.
it
That's why I'm saying like I'm agreeing with you in a different way in terms of just like I just don't understand why this game has become the game that has to quote unquote get it right compared to anything else. And it's not even like a character with merit. Like you said, it's like it's not like he didn't exist. Whether or not you want to nitpick at his accomplishments, like we can all agree he exists. Yes.
he was a retainer.
No, but he
He was a
existed,
retainer.
correct?
But
Yes.
he was a retainer. And you know what? You know what's
Mm,
crazy? There's a movie called Ninja Scroll. You know the first time I heard about a retainer? From that movie. Guess what
mm,
retainers were?
I don't know.
Swordsman.
Mm. But that's rank. Were they wall busting samurai that used to throw men side to side and maneuver through ancient Japan and
If that's the case, you're a ninja, you should only attack at night. That's
mm,
it.
mm.
That's it. You should only attack at night.
Right. If we're going for historical accuracy
If
above all
historical
else.
accuracy, if we're gonna go for that, then let the combats be just it should be the Bushido blade. You get hit
Right.
one time, kid. That's it. You're not dodging musket bullets.
Right.
You can hag with that
Right.
musket bullets. That's
Right,
my
bro.
thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's okay. Like I don't like y'all stress the truth. Do we think that the Dutch horse? If you want to do Pirates of the Caribbean, go ahead. Do it. Do it.
Right. It's a work
So
of
like
fiction inspired by true events.
and
It's
then of course the romance was another topic. The English is like, okay, they're just doing what they want at this point, for like I'm like, is this important in an Assassin's Creed game? Not to me. But it's there. You have the option to, just like you did in Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3,
the games they love, by the
uh,
way. But go
with
on.
aliens. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's like I understand it's because it was coming at the expense of this generation of people being forced a message that people might not agree with. And
Absolutely.
because of that, because the message was taking priority over the gameplay, this was just the tail end of that frustration. It's
Yeah.
reached the pinnacle of that.
Hmm.
Right? We don't tell us how to don't tell me how to play my game. Don't tell me what my characters can say. Don't tell me this is an open world game and I can't punch this person in the face
Hmm.
that I want to punch in the face. Even if I don't want to, in real life or in the game, give me the option to. That's pretty much why people like Grand Theft Auto.
Right. You could do whatever you want and deal with the
You can do
consequences.
and deal with the consequences as well. But at the same time, it's your gameplay tailored to what you put money into. Don't tell me what choices I can make and what I can't make. If I don't want this character in my party, I'm offing them.
And the wild thing is that from all the reviews that I gathered, it's like other than a couple of like obviously story related beats, you don't ever have to play as one over the other. You can pick between Naoe or Yasuke at almost any given point past a certain point in the game. So it's not like I'm being forced to play this character. You don't ever have to play with him if you really don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing where I'm like, that's why like it's hard for me when we talk about stuff like this, because you're right. I think it's maybe catching a bullet that it wasn't a bullet that wasn't intended for it in a lot of ways. And it doesn't help that Ubisoft has kind of been mailing in their delivery when it comes to the games of like, it's not like I can defend an amazing game, you know, and be like, hush, you button pushers. It's like, I get it. Their creative peak is clearly behind them. That being said, these arguments that are being built up, I'm like you said, where is this same type of anger with Mass Effect? Where is this same type of like it just feels very misdirected. Essentially, it's kind of what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, there was anger towards Mass Effect because it was just bad. Like that's the thing.
But we've said that before. Bad writing is bad writing. If something is bad
Andromeda,
writing, you have all. I'll mute up, right? I'm like, by all means, firing squad.
Andromeda broke my heart, man. Andromeda was like this Playboy Cardi album. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't listen to Playboy Cardi guys. I'm just saying, like, I'm hearing the stuff and I'm just like, this is what you asked for. It was headed down this way anyway. No lyrics. Hobson said it himself.
Vibes.
You know what I'm saying?
Emotions.
It's just vibes, bro.
Yeah.
So now we turn to EDM music ourselves. You know, I never thought I'd see the day. Oh, never thought I'd see the day.
It reminds me of this meme video I saw like 5 years ago where it's like music, and because the thing is like the and this is like completely off topic, but it was just funny. It's like they're like the meme was like music is homogenizing so much that by like I think they said like the 2030s, it will just be noise across all genres. No genres will have lyrics. It'll just be, you'll know it by the beat of like, this is an R&B vibe, but there will be no lyrics that make sense, words that resonate.
Words get in the way. The very tool God used to speak life into existence, it gets in the way.
Oh my goodness.
Right. We're not telepathic, guys.
Instrumentation, the album. But yeah, getting back on topic, I just think like, well, I guess let's shift the conversation a little bit, right? Because I think this is also an interesting angle of it. Where would you agree or disagree, or do you think it's fair or unfair when a game is forever now compared to a certain benchmark in the genre? So to give an example, and I've said this before, right? Although the gameplay didn't appeal to me, and that's why I never played Baldur's Gate 3. I think when it comes to the games that provide you a level of choice, Baldur's Gate 3 has now become the new standard of like, oh, I've seen what's possible, and it needs to at least be this, if not higher, right? So I said that to Assassin's Creed Shadow of like, y'all made the mistake of letting Ghost of Tsushima drop first, and now, just like Rise of Ronin, you are going to get compared to Ghost of Tsushima. And it needs to be, or maybe it doesn't. That's what I'm asking. Does it need to be as good, if not better?
It has to, because you have Ubisoft money. There's no excuse for you.
Right. You're not an indie developer.
You're not an indie developer. You have Ubisoft money. You have Ubisoft resources. You guys can pull strings if you wanted to make the game look like Grand Theft Auto. You guys can do that. Do your shareholders have to pay their rent at the end of the month? That's a different question.
I mean, right? The way Ubisoft is going, maybe.
You feel me?
It might be getting to like, yo,
are your investors living above their means? You know, that should be a rule. Like, hey, listen, if you can't pay for this investment 3 times over, we don't want your money.
Right. If you're not
because
okay
you're
with getting
gonna
your money back in maybe 3 to 5 years,
yeah, we
please,
don't want nothing to
by
do with
all
you.
means. Yeah.
Kick the bucket,
Yeah.
please. We'll continue to make our cell phone games. Goodbye.
Mm,
You're destroying an avenue of resources for people that actually understand the market.
mm,
Get out of here.
right.
But um, I think like honestly, just with this whole thing, and it's gonna cannibalize itself because it's just too extreme to the point where it's not driven by actual merit anymore. When it was,
Mm,
you had a few sensible people speaking up, but now it just seems like you're deliberately looking for every inch. Just and now you're becoming what the very thing you get mad at people accusing you of being. You know,
mm, mm,
well, because you just keep cannibalizing yourself. There was a time I went through a heartbreak, and you looked at looked at women a certain way, but it wasn't realistic. It
mm,
wasn't true. You know, it wasn't true. There were commonalities, consistencies,
right.
but now I was able to differentiate what is and what is not, versus just going down a path. Everything is just gray versus everything is just red. Attack everything like a bull. That's not the truth.
Mm,
Um, and so, like with this, I think with Assassin's Creed, they made a mistake without not coming out first.
yeah.
You know, um, they said, "Hey, Assassin's Creed, y'all not making a samurai game? Not yet. Wait, y'all still want to do what? Y'all want to go to England again? Oh,
Right.
okay, fine. I'll do it myself."
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's out.
Reality is often disappointing.
But now reality can be
Whatever.
whatever I want. You did it to yourself, dog. You had the opportunity to drop something and you didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Saints Row had the opportunity to be um and it was gonna become just as good, in my opinion, as Grand Theft Auto. They would have gotten the money. And you want to play Grand Theft Auto without the cheat codes and mods? Play Saints Row.
Right.
And the script is hilarious.
Yes.
Grand Theft Auto could never, and that's true. How do you think Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter came about? They all created their own paths.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
While
Killer
building on
Instinct
what was
said,
already established.
we're building what was already established. Killer Instinct said, hey, let's take our favorite action movies and make different versions of them. Full Gore,
Mm.
Predator,
Mm-hmm.
Glacius, T-1000.
Mm-hmm.
And now the T-1000 trying to catch up to Glacius. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. You was already there.
Yeah. And now, of course, right, the T-1000 is being regarded as one of the greatest guest characters in MK1. And I'm like, well, of course it is. Because for once, they got it. They didn't hit the recycle button like they did with Omni-Man and Homelander. They're like, we need to make our own version of Mortal Kombat's
And
Glacius.
all y'all could have did was just be like Dragon Ball Z, to where they used the comic book references to create their combos.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you had to do. Fighter Z is loved because of everything they took attention to detail. But it's just Arc System Works, who loves anime secretly. They gave you a 3 hour anime within the game of Guilty Gear, and you didn't even ask for it. They tell you what they
They
like.
expanded on Kill the Kill. Kill the Kill.
And so you have a bunch of animators that also love games equally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's bleeding into each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are beautiful mishaps, beautiful, beautiful things colliding together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with Assassin's Creed, man, like they're just they're so comfortable with what they're doing and how they do it. Like you can't tell them anything, and then when it's too late, they have to play catch up. Like it shouldn't have been this bad for you guys to realize, yo, we better make good games again. Why are we making Assassin's Creed, dropping it like it's Madden? It's not.
Right, right, right.
And it's getting worse and worse and worse because we have to release it so frequently. Whose idea was this? And now we don't even have an identity for ourselves. We
True.
lost the very essence. So now imagine if Sucker Punch decides to do a Middle Eastern game where you're an assassin. Good luck, Assassin's Creed.
Right,
It's over.
right. Or imagine if like the Just Cause developers decide they want to make their own third-person adventure version of Far Cry Primal with the physics system that they had in the Just Cause games. You might as well.
Good luck. Signing out.
Yeah.
Signing out. Signing out. Yeah,
Mm,
I think it's a lot of things, man. You don't even have the talent anymore. Where are you gonna find that talent? Who's gonna want to commit to a company like that? You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like
mm,
most people right now, they want stability. And if you're not, and if I have the desire to be just as good as my favorite developer or CEO, if I have a Jordan mentality or Steve Jobs mentality, I'm not taking my Lakers. I'm not taking my talents to you.
mm.
I might as well just do it myself with other talented people. I'm starting to see these things happen,
Yeah.
right? Like these Chinese companies are smashing it with 30 people.
Yeah. Or you look at something where they're not American based, but the company that did Split Fiction, they're based out of Sweden. It's 80 people, and they can't keep Split Fiction on the shelves, bro. It did like 2 million, I think, first week, something like that.
And who did Astrobot? Wasn't it a French company that did Astrobot?
Japanese. I think
Japanese?
the creative director is French, I believe,
Oh, okay,
but it's a
okay.
Japanese based team,
I mean, yeah, and I think
and that team
Japanese
was underneath 100 people. I believe. I believe. I'm sure someone's gonna correct us in the comments, but I'm like, I don't
and
think, you know.
and it's like, yeah, you asked for it, man. You
Hmm.
asked for it. One of the games that they had they came that game came out very fast because they had a budget, they had money to spend. That EA game that was like Monster Hunter. But there's two mistakes that you guys made. Everwilds, I think was called.
And the name sounds familiar, but go on. I'll look it up.
Wild Hearts or something like that. Let me see.
I have no idea.
And then not
EA
it
game
just died.
that's like, oh, I think it wasn't it Ubisoft that made
Wild
that?
Hearts.
There was some type
Wild
of, I
Hearts.
think it was like a free to play game, right? And like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
it was EA that made that?
Hmm.
Yikes.
It was sponsored by EA. EA funded it, I guess. Let me see. Oh
That
no,
sucks.
developers was Koei Tecmo Games, Omega Force. Here's the mistake that they made. When you're doing games like that, you don't copy Monster. You see what Monster Hunter's not doing,
Mm-hmm.
and then you do it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have those contraptions. That's a plus. That ever cube that can transform into several different things. That's perfect. I thought you guys did a terrible job with the animal creation design. I don't want to play games where the animals are plants as well. Cringy.
Mm.
Unless this is like an insect, it's not going to work.
Mm.
I don't want to see a rat made of grass. I don't want to see that.
Mm.
You could have easily did yourself, hey, let's make ourselves a fake Attack on Titan, and it just in feudal Japan setting, fantasy Japan. You
Mm.
could have done that. You could have done humanoids. You could have done both.
Mm.
You could have, okay, Monster Hunter doesn't allow you to scale the world. You could fight anywhere and everywhere. You want to fight on that type of mountain cliffside? We take the battle there. He's going to be hanging on that vine, and that's the combat you're going to have to deal with. That's what you would do, but they wanted to do a carbon copy, cut and paste, and you pay for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So with Assassin's Creed, we were asking you when we wanted it. You let us slip it for 4 games when we were asking for it. That's the time you should have did it,
Yeah.
and you didn't do it because okay, I'm a Middle Eastern assassin. It fits. Okay, we're going to Egypt. Cool. What's next? Greek mythology. Uh, I mean, y- you better than God of War.
No.
Uh, what's next after this? Vikings. Oh. So you guys want to now? You saw God of War turn to a North mythology. Now you want to do North mythology. Is it better than God of War? Again?
Oh.
No, no. So now, wait, you want to do Japan finally? Oh my gosh, thank God. But wait, Is it better than Ghost of Tsushima?
Right. Do you have a Jin Isekai level of character writing? Oh, you don't.
No, it's not. It's not. So then what? Hey, then the board meetings. Hey, why doesn't our game look like this? Well, we tried to tell you day one, but you told us to add this character and this character, and you didn't tell me that this was a bad idea. We did. You're fired. I mean, when you run a company like that, I mean, that what do you? That to me, this is just me guessing and improvising. I don't know honestly what these guys are thinking, but at the same time, why would we give you what you want?
To me, like I said, I think, and we can move on to another topic after this. But I
Yeah,
think it's one of those
I'm
things
glad
where it's
it's
like,
doing good. I was gonna
yeah,
buy this game out of spite.
yeah.
I'm
Apparently,
glad
like
it's
it looks
better.
good visually, right? It's a lot better than some games previous. It's not as bloated as Valhalla or whatever the case may be.
I mean,
I
is the
think
combat fun? Are these
it's
games
pretty
like
good.
Is Assassin's Creed draws you into this world of fighting? They're not. They're like
That's
the
what I'm
most
saying.
like they're sticky notes, man. They're
Mm,
not they're just sticky notes, whatever that color is, but
mm,
it's the most uninteresting, non-memorable color. I forget stuff on sticky notes because of that color.
mm,
It's so boring.
mm.
That's what Assassin's Creed has been. It's nothing interesting. And if you're gonna go to Supernatural, just do it. Just make a different spin-off game, man. Assassin's Creed don't have to come out. We don't care about no historically because if it's not historic, you guys can't even do it historically.
Right,
Leonardo da Vinci wasn't making no Batman contraptions.
right,
So
right,
just say loosely. Just say loosely.
right.
Just say loosely. You overpromised on something that you can't do.
The fruit from the garden of good and evil, or the tree of good and evil, was not a computer program
The
made from
man had a
the end.
Dragon Ball
Yeah.
at the end of part one, making a wish, having
Like,
to deal with
yeah,
Aaron Al Ragu as Ragu, okay? Like,
historical accuracy was not at the forefront of this series from day one.
but he turned to Jafar.
I don't know, bro. I think it's just one of those things where, like I said, I think in summary, it's. I think I'm relieved that the game is not going to be judged on it being bad, right? I'm glad that it's forced the naysayers to at least move from that. But like I said at the beginning, like I just don't think that Ubisoft did enough to warrant defending the game either, right? It's like someone's like, I just thought it was the same, more Assassin's Creed. I'm like, well, that's might as well saying it's a bad game. Like it being a better version of a previous Assassin's Creed still makes it a bad game because, like you said, we've seen this formula for the past 15 years. Like it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I know you're an assassin. What's the story now? What is it that you're making more stuff interesting? No. Oh, another hay stack in Egypt?
Right.
Okay.
Another leap of faith.
Another leap of faith. This time I get a peregrine eagle, a peregrine falcon, I mean, versus
Mm,
can I swim? I still can't swim,
mm.
and I'm an assassin. Why isn't there anything game gameplay where I'm going into the aqueduct? That's what I have with that's the problem I have with
Well,
these
you can swim
developers.
in this game. You can. You
Well,
can
when
actually.
Yasuke won,
Yeah, like I think Naoe, she even has a, because they added more to her stealth mechanics where I think you can sneak up on somebody like underwater and use like a bamboo shoot to make sure you can still breathe, so you can actually sneak up on people. So you could swim for more or less. So like again, a better Assassin's Creed, but given that's why I asked the question about where the bar is now, because I'm like, to me, I'm like, it's only unfair if you're enough removed from that genre. But if you tell me a Japanese, anything samurai, shinobi, or otherwise inspired, Ghost of Tsushima immediately is going to come up, and that's just what it is. We get it to Rise of Ronin, we definitely gonna do it to you. Like that's just kind of what it is.
Rise of Ronin didn't even stand a chance, dog.
That's what happens when people
The
say,
thing with Tecmo Koei don't want to spend money either, so You see their games?
They kind of pick and choose. It's weird. 'Cause I'm like, y'all coasted on that, but Dynasty Warrior Origins, you guys tried really hard. I'm like, that's weird. Like, usually you guys coast on Dynasty Warriors.
They had to. Dynasty Warriors, when it was out, it was the next best thing. But then they dropped the same thing again.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many times am I going to remix Party Like a Rockstar?
Right.
How many times am I going to remix This Is Why I'm Hot?
Right.
Oh, this is the one with Ludacris? This is the one with Andre 3 Stacks? This is the one with Paul Wall? Oh, this is the one with Lil Wayne and Paul Wall?
Right. We gotta admit, at some
Lego
point,
pieces.
Busta Rhymes' Touch It remixes were starting to get a little ridiculous. I think the mega cut was like 10 minutes long. I'm like, all right, Busta.
Mega cut.
Yeah, it's like
Megatron mixed it himself.
We gotta kind of let's trim the fat here somewhere.
The Carter 9. Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
The Carter 9.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll revisit this topic to some degree once the official sales numbers are out. I don't know. I mean, we talked about it long enough. I just think it's one of those things where I'm like, it's not the company ending game that people predicted it was going to be, but it's also not the game saving game that we predicted it to be. Like, predicted it not to be. It's just one of those things where like it's a pretty good, depending on your tolerance for Assassin's Creed. And if you don't play it, you're not missing anything. And I'm like, well, that's not going to get it done. And it doesn't help that Ghost of Yotei is dropping this year. And if it's even slightly better than Ghost of Tsushima, then they're really going to get you out of here. Woman protagonists or not. You know, like,
oh no, it's gonna be great.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's just
all those complaints from the tired of this people will matter nothing if the game is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I myself am like, I'm honestly tired of female protagonists, bro. Like, only because it's just the games where it didn't have to be this way is where you force it. It just didn't feel natural. A lot of these female driven games didn't feel natural, and the protagonist wasn't likable.
No, I can understand that. I can understand. I think, like, to me, it gets just a bit head scratching when it comes to, like, man, everybody seems pretty hyped for Ties of Annihilation. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm like, it seems very pick and choosy of like,
okay,
we'll give it the runway.
The reason why for me, I think I didn't have a problem with her because she reminded me of Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Lightning. Mm-hmm. Even though she was like a cloud, I liked her design. I liked the music they had
like a cloud.
Yeah, well, she.
Come on.
Yeah. Female cloud. You know. But I was not familiar with Cloud's personality, so it didn't really, bother me because I was not going to play no Final Fantasy VII. At the time, the pixelated one. There's no way I'm playing PlayStation 1 graphics or my eyes get cut by the graphic. The geometric shapes, like, it cuts my eyes. I'm not playing that. Paper cuts to my eyes with those graphics. No, sir. So when Final Fantasy 13 dropped at that E3 and I'm looking at the trailer, I'm like, yo, this graphics is amazing. It didn't bother me, So I think she reminds me of Lightning. And I think that for the aesthetic, Lightning's clothing is modest to me. She got some, she's dressed modestly. She's got her little Tekken clothing on, but in Final Fantasy version. And I felt like with Tides of Annihilation, I guess this just was more refreshing because to me, if I do a female character, that's the way I would do it. You know what I'm saying? Like what is another game where a female protagonist, nobody bats an eye because she just, people just decently like the person.
I mean, at one point it used to be Lara Croft, but now it's, it depends who you talk to and depending on what iteration of Lara Croft we're talking about, unfortunately. But it used to be Lara Croft.
I like both Lara Crofts, but I just the one for the Xbox, that was her first time. The only thing is she never felt confident after a while. She always felt like tree bark and a bear eats my head and mauls it. No, I always felt she was victim Lara Croft versus I'm taking my life into my own hands. Lara Croft. Yeah, she's trauma Lara Croft. Like she just she opens the door, a bolt that falls on her leg, and now I gotta use these two chopsticks to hold my leg together. Like, just oh my gosh, it's just a bad day, Laura Croft. Just never any form of confidence. Um, I never looked at Bayonetta for the sex appeal. I mean, she too skinny for me anyway.
I mean,
She
it
was
was
there.
there, but I think it's one of those things where like you can't deny it. But
It,
I'm with
but it
you.
was
I'm
more.
with you
She was
though.
more like a taunty one. You know what I'm saying? Like she was a taunter.
Mm-hmm. But
That's why I
you
never.
can't say the sex appeal didn't play a factor. You can't. It's literally
I mean, she was
impossible.
moving crazy, but like I never looked at Bayonetta like.
And her power ups with lollipops. Come on, man. Like let's
Hey,
you gotta call it for what it is. Like I'm not saying again,
hey,
that's not what drew you into it.
it didn't make me spend. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm
that's
saying. It
not
didn't
what you
draw you
feel
into
me.
it, but let's not you know what I'm saying? Let's not act like it, you know.
I actually hate women like that.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Very women that like flirtations. Those are girls I can't stand because they try to use their like beauty to move, and it don't work. You feel me?
mm.
Like I'm Kratos. What? So just as soon as I see that duh, 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 you feel me? Like, nah, yeah, but I think what's another character that I like? And a lot of my female characters that I like are from RPG games, man. I
Right.
think those are the best representation.
Well, that's what I'm.
Like I loved
What?
Tales of Arise.
I was gonna
I
say even.
liked
I
I
was gonna say
like
even Final
2B, but
Fantasy
I can't
Seven.
defend 2B. You feel me? Because
No,
they
you
already
can't.
done
And
destroyed
they've
2B.
they've yeah
Feel
they've
me?
doubled and
I
tripled
can't.
down on
Yeah, I can't
yeah.
do nothing.
But like I look
Final
at Final
Fantasy
Fantasy Seven
7.
remake of like everyone loves Tifa, Aerith equally. They've come around to Yuffie. You know, like it's granted, like they're not the protagonists of the story technically, but that's why I'm like to me, I'm like I don't like that narrative of like we're tired of the female leads. Like no, you're tired of poorly written female leads,
So
which is
that's what it
fine.
is. But we know people are they're not very are they rather just speak and then the feelings what they say already out. You get what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
they speak very quickly. I do that at times too. That's like people reading the headlines. Oh, what? Hey, no,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
the
yeah,
article actually said this, and nobody wants to feel hurt. So
yeah.
they just you just won't get a reply on the comment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what
They'll
this
never
is.
walk it back.
That's
Never.
what this is.
Mm.
Um, I hate poorly written female characters. You know what I'm saying? To where it's like, yo, listen, because it's to the point to like, yo, a guy could have just did this. Because the way
Yeah.
she acts, it's
No,
like you don't do anything uniquely attributing towards her. The reason why people might want to play a game like Aerith, because she says things that, hey, I never thought of it that way.
right.
Let's
Or
see how she interacts with XYZ.
right. Or the way she combats plays to her strengths rather than her being an equivalent to Cloud. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me, I'm like, that's why there was a point where I did enjoy playing as women protagonists that were written well, of course, because it was interesting seeing like, okay, how do they make up for the lack of just raw physical strength? What do they do with this person? You know, to kind of make them like still feel like a threat. You know, and seeing the ways like you look at Tekken, like when we're talking about Tekken, it's like none of those women in that game, except maybe what Zhao Yu, whatever, Jin's best friend, they all feel like a problem. Like I would hate to be like, yo, Anna has been chosen to hunt you down. I'm like, well, I'm
Oh,
done.
you said XL, you don't feel like, oh, you just don't know.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying compared to the rest of the women on that roster.
No, 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 no. XL is a nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm.
Don't let that fool you. That is my anti-king. No, no. XL is a problem. It's just, a lot of people don't know that, but that is a nightmare. You see Rain in tournaments, da 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 da. XU is a nightmare. She always was.
Mm.
Always. There's just people don't have the time. Lee Chao Long is a nightmare. People aren't willing to put the time in. Just like Roy. Roy in Super Smash Brothers Melee, problem. Two
Mm-hmm.
hits, 50 damage.
Mm-hmm.
That start
But
going down, brother.
but that's what.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
basically, yeah. But what the point
All
I'm
the
trying to come
female, yeah,
to,
yeah.
yeah, the
I
point I'm
get
coming
you. I
to is
get you.
like it's like you feel like they still feel threatening. Like I don't. granted, of course, there's levels to this. When I'm seeing, Jin level of city block, I'm like, Anna and Nina, it means nothing. Like it like I get that aspect, but in terms of just like, I think that's what kind of makes them interesting versus girl boss for girl boss sake. To your point of like, you're not doing anything that makes this uniquely woman like. You're just substituting a man for a woman with nothing of the things that make her unique, right? I'm like, I don't look at Tifa to swing a Buster Sword. I look at Tifa because she's gonna.
Yeah. No, but that's what makes Tifa cool, though. Yeah,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. To continue, man. I think WWE even gets that right with like the females are the best I've ever seen the WWE divas ever. Like they have their own personality, their own storylines. Like they're superstars now. They're like I look forward to watching these girls matches because they're good now. But that's all thanks to Shawn Michaels. Yeah, so somebody that gets it, that revamps it to where like they're not corny, they're not like masking tape over their areolas. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
It's there's more depth now, not slaps.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they got their own finishers. So you need very well written female characters. They got great storylines now for the WWE women. They have good storylines. So that's something I would want more. There's just ways of doing it to where you don't make everybody feel like, oh my gosh, another 30 minutes of this Captain Marvel movie. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like,
though. Great comparison, because
that's really what that is. I'm powerful because I am.
You
Snap,
right,
snap.
bro. You're right.
And so we've been getting that.
I'm only limited by my disbelief in myself. Oh, all right. Well,
yeah. How you gonna beat that? How you gonna beat that character? How you gonna beat that Espada? Huh? How you gonna beat that? What they call? What's the Yoash gang called again?
The Quincy's.
The Quincy's? How are you going to beat that Quincy?
Yeah.
I believe in myself until I don't. Hey, let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, that's your power? All right, we're going to roll the credits. In loving memory of Ichigo, Kenpachi, pretty much all the main cast.
and the only way for you to beat them is if a DC hero shows up, Dr. Manhattan or Mr. McPicklex. Like, that's the only way.
Fifth dimensional being or Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman's children, right? Isn't like their son is like the strongest person in existence or whatever the case may be.
Or the Silver Surfer just puts you in his board. Like,
yeah,
that's what this is. And so you got to write the female characters better, man. Like nobody knows about the Dead or Alive storyline, but that Dead or Alive storyline, I wish they pitched it better. It's amazing.
That's their fault. Bless you. That's their fault. That's a monster of your own creation. Yeah, like
that's a monster of your own creation. I think the best Dead or Alive game was on the DS.
5, and now look at you.
These characters aren't just better at fighting. They're actually better at something else. Right. Extreme Beach Volleyball, XXX 5. Remember that game from Konami called Rumble Roses?
Yes.
You can't tell me that was no wrestling game, though. I bought that game and I felt guilty. I was a kid. It must.
There was an era of gaming of like, the Gooner community didn't come out of nowhere, is what I'll say. Where did they come from? They were molded and shaped by the darkness.
Molded by it.
We used it. We've seen it. We're aware with it. They were molded by it. There's a series of games that fed them well.
Jeez, I can't believe that game exists. I'm like, yo, this was just a wrestling game full of women with 4DX whatever bra size.
There was a game I'll never forget that was one of the first games that ever I think got pulled from the shelves during the PlayStation era or PS2 era called BMX XXX. Remember that game?
No,
when you get a chance, look it up.
I think I remember it. It was on Game Informer magazines, man.
Whatever your imagination of it is, you're right. This is what I'll say. Whatever you're thinking, you're right. You're absolutely right.
My gosh.
So it's the older we get, the more I realize that things kind of move in pendulums, right? And I think what's happened, to your point, and I think the general point is like, yes, there was too much of the message kind of being forced into mediums that it wasn't needed in. So that's why we're seeing such more of a general outrage and pushback. But I'm hoping that now that people are seeing that, like, yo, we don't want this in this medium like that, it will now kind of shift back to the core thing of what makes games fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's again, using Split Fiction as an example. I haven't played it yet, but I plan on playing it. And it's just like the immediate outrage of like two women. It's just like, yo, hey, shut up. He made it after his daughters, and the gameplay is fire. Hush, not this game. You know what I'm
I
saying?
didn't take
Like,
that like that though.
huh?
I didn't take that game like that. At
Right.
least that didn't come across,
Right. So it's like
you know.
they try to kind of get that narrative going. And it was
But
like people were like,
it gets into it's cannibalizing itself because now you're having the people that just want to be malicious because you did not do a good job at differentiating your speech and your word choice. So now you have these people jumping on, speaking for you, and you
mm-hmm,
might not even feel this way.
mm-hmm.
So that's my thing. Like get your point across, but make sure you make it to a point where nobody can group you with the people that you say you don't have anything in common with.
Yeah.
That's it.
And again, like, and I know we're gonna kind of get into it as like part of our back to formula to a degree, but I'm like, but that's why I said, like, I guess as a sneak preview for that, it's like it's okay to say I just don't like playing this, right? Like, I just haven't had the time yet to respond to that one comment about how he felt about our Death Stranding opinions. Of like, fam, listen, this ain't just people shouting at a screen. Like, we're all three very intellectual people. I
No,
understand the concepts. I don't
yeah,
like the
yeah,
gameplay
yeah.
mechanics.
No,
It's
my
not.
thing
It's not
is,
a.
yeah, like your concepts are great, but we want a game.
Like I was saying in the group chat, if the death of storytelling was all it took, then Lupe Fiasco would have more money than Jay-Z, and Watchmen would have been the best superhero movie ever made in existence. But that's not how it works.
But it is the best superhero made in existence. But the world didn't respond that way.
And
That's my
why
thing.
do you think that is? These
And when they
characters
tell
are
you
great.
why,
Where's the punchy punchy? Where's the kicky kicky? There's a reason why the phrase "you put the medicine in the candy" exists for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we're getting super off topic, but it's fine. Like, the one thing I always kind of come back to is when you talk to a bunch of people about how they feel about the Matrix trilogy, everyone's like, "Oh, Matrix 1, goated, goated, goated. The sequels, And I say, okay, Matrix Reloaded, what did you not like? When he speaks to the director, in that room, it was just so boring, right? And I remember being in middle school or high school, whatever, when that came out. I'm like, it was boring because I was 13 years old, 14 years old. He's just talking, and I'm looking for the bullet time. But rewatching that movie as I got older, I'm like, man,
he was been raw.
he was spitting bars.
So Matrix. That's why Matrix 2 to me was still amazing. When everybody said that it was boring, da, 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 I get it. I get it. You want some of that in your Kojima games because he's done all this prediction and almost prophetic speech and predict, and then so you had how many installments to build this level of respect for him. I get it. Bravo. But Death Stranding, the elements of that help Metal Gear Solid were that the gameplay was just as good as the story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You just at that time happened to like espionage games. And so it translated to this new one.
Right.
Right? But at the same time, what is this new one? He wanted to do something different from Metal Gear Solid to where you didn't have to you didn't have to go off with the bombastic action and mechs and XYZ and shooting, something more therapeutic. Then just do a movie.
Which is what I said.
Or just do a Telltale game.
Right.
to where,
Which is
that
what,
could also be therapeutic.
yeah, I'm like,
Um,
to me, I think and I know this is getting off point from our general point about this when I'm talking about just say you don't like something, but I think it's like the medium of how something is expressed is important.
but I also say that the game would have been you would have got your point across had you approached it like an Alan Wake, just a supernatural style, or a more in depth. Um, it could have been a very effective third person shooter, and you could have had your very unique elements in there,
All the same
all
plot
the same
points,
thing, and you meet
but with the
both,
Thule.
and at the same time you would have equally enjoyed it more if you're not being biased because of that. And it could have had those moments of being therapeutic. You could have given everybody what they wanted. I would never one of the actresses from Bionic Woman, I didn't want to do the game because if it was just about fighting, da da da, da, and then I hope he didn't do it because of that. No, I mean, no, this is the game I want to make, and I want you to be a part of it. There
Mm,
are bad guys. That's life. I don't got time for your removed version of what you think society is
mm,
and how war is. It's a real thing, and it happens. Just like there are bad actors and good actors.
yeah,
Just
and
presented a totality of truth. That's it.
yeah, and I think generally speaking, I think like it's okay. I think I want to say even Mighty Keith made a skit about this of like it's okay for me to enjoy something that you don't like. Like you thinking you like me or you enjoy something that I don't like. Me not liking it doesn't necessarily mean that I think it's bad. It's just not for me. And I think that's something where like we've tried to kind of at least try to have nuance in our podcast of like I can see the appeal to some, not my cup of tea, or vice
Same.
versa.
I won't play Baldur's Gate.
Right.
Hey, I can see why people like it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Why won't you play Baldur's Gate? I don't got time to wait to attack.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not
not
playing.
doing
I'm
it.
not trying to play dice roll the game. That's just it.
I'm not.
Sorry,
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not playing
it's
dice roll
not
the
a
game.
gameplay mechanic that I enjoy. Doesn't make it
Yeah,
bad. I just don't.
I still don't play solitaire because there ain't no AKs in it. That's just me. It's
Right.
okay. It's
And
okay.
it doesn't make you ignorant. It doesn't mean that you're not open to more in-depth things. It's just like that gameplay loop is not something that I subscribe to.
I I like games to where I have to have my senses activated. I like to test how fast my response time is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do 39 hit combos on enemies on the highest difficulty. Why? Because it tests and stimulates my brain. Not all the time. And then sometimes when want to when I want to chill, I play Halo Rank. Why? Because it's easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are butter pecans. It's engraved in me, right? That's my idea of a quiet time. If I want to get stressed, I'll play Gears of War.
Mm.
I'll play Gears of War and it just be me and the rest of my team are idiots. If I want to get stressed, that's what I'll do.
That sounds
Yeah.
like the general lobbies of doing solo queue on Marvel Rivals of like
You know?
them voice
It's
chats
like,
be crazy, bro. I'm like, where are
you
my
know?
healers? I'm here in the back getting jumped by Spider-Man. Turn around. Like I could heal
Oh,
you
wait,
if you
wait,
would.
wait. Hey, no, I'm sorry. Iron Fist got me. He wanted to talk. Mind you, I'm in space and he quadrupled. Yeah, he learned how to
Right.
jump from what's his name? Blondie from One Piece, man.
Yeah, I've already been
From
hitting by
Sanji.
I've already been hitting by Star Platinum. In this backline already. I'm
You getting
done.
hit by you getting hit like Star Platinum, like he thought I was what's that stand in India.
Yeah. Just writing down.
Yeah, writing down that check, man. Right,
But
that man did a combo. He did the Street Fighter finisher on Buddy, man. The Ryu, Ryu.
the
Yeah,
chin quake.
boy.
But speaking of games that you go to for peace of mind, one of the big gaming news topics that I written down was, the ever growing rise of cozy games, right? There's been the trailer for Power Wash Simulator 2, right? One of the charting games for over the past month has been called literally Dig a Hole, where you're digging a hole. And we're seeing more and more of these similar games, these Sims-esque, shall you say, games that don't require a lot of hand-eye coordination, doesn't require a lot of much of anything. It's just, hey, I would never work in construction, but this jackhammer game just brings with the DualShock brings a sense of ease. What do you think about like the cozy game genre?
Minecraft is that.
Hmm.
Minecraft. Adults don't touch Minecraft because they think it's for kids, but once they get their hands on Minecraft, you're not going to say it's for kids anymore.
I've heard that about
Minecraft
Roblox also. That Roblox can get a, you know, like it. The depth is there if you want it, essentially.
Yeah, if you want it. Minecraft is to me the most therapeutic game ever. Those blocks coming apart like that. That's like you did something to where it's synchronized with everything you want a game to be. Everything's synchronized, even from the music, the very nice, calm setting. And then one day, hey, why don't I make myself a beach? I want to make myself Cancun at in this game. Hey, you know what? Cancun is missing a T-Rex. Let me see if I can make me a T-Rex. And then before you know it, you got yourself a whole community.
Right.
And now you creating this.
You made Jurassic Park
made
in
it
Minecraft.
in Minecraft. So
No,
like
right.
there's no, it's to me, Minecraft is just like you guys, y'all, why don't you just play Minecraft?
But I guess the reason why I brought up that topic is because, you know, we see these games that are being held in like a microscope now, right? And I'm just like, it's interesting that for all the games that people will nitpick to death, it's like these cozy games seem to kind of like get a pass of like, well, you could dig a hole, but the mechanics work and they're fulfilling, so I don't care that I'm digging a hole.
No.
And it
But
cost me $8 to buy it.
The thing is, there's no surprise, I guess. For some people, there's no surprises. And I guess some people don't like surprises. This is what you do in the game. That's it. You don't got to worry about Devil May Cry 3 if you going to fight two bosses at the same time. You ain't got to worry about that.
No, yeah, it's
you ain't got to worry about oh man, I ain't have enough money to buy this next combo. I got to buy combos. Oh, let me go back and fight this boss again, and he halfway killed me, and then I just wasted all my life stuck on the final boss. I could just let me just dig this hole versus just
for the next 45 minutes.
For the next 40 or Ninja Gaiden, you go into a portal and then you find out you got to kill 1,000 demons.
Yep.
And each demon you kill,
and the health chest is way in the back.
the health chest is in the other side of the portal that you have to get through the 1,000 first. You got rank 1 dragon sword. Good luck, brother. I lose a drop. No, they can cancel out of that and redrop you. Yeah. So
they'll spin back mid spin. Oh, okay. Well,
you thought she was Rocky?
Quit home screen.
Yes, for some people that just might be too much, and you got to also think these might be old people playing, right?
Yeah, or like you said, it's just to scratch a certain itch. So like what I was Googling, because I couldn't remember the name at the time, right? One of the games that I kind of kept pushing on my friends during that period, it's a game called Maneater, where you play a shark looking for revenge because there's like these poachers that killed your mom.
Oh, I got to buy the game.
It ain't
fire.
It ain't the world. It ain't set the world on fire story wise, but you are a shark that grows and grows. You fight crocodiles. You fight Shamu. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a great time.
But you know what it is? They follow the principles of a game. The story don't have to. The story could be Tornadoes 4, Sharknadoes. You gave me a game. That's the most video game in a long time. When we look at the video games we used to play, the storylines was deep. Mario was just a plumber.
Right.
Going down. It didn't make any sense, but
it made no sense. A plumber surrounded by dragon-like creatures rescuing a princess from a castle. Who are these people? How did you meet this? Why do you know to go rescue her? Who is she to you?
Donkey Kong. Throwing down barrels while you trying to climb up the New York State building. You know what I'm saying? They were just games. And I think what's another video game?
Destroy All Humans.
Destroy All Humans.
That's it's like, hey, you ever want to play Mars Attacks? Here you go. You know what I'm saying? It's like it ain't.
Yeah. Let's go with another video game. Super Hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just a video game.
Mm.
That's what is missing to where like, you know what? I don't really care. Like, what's that? What's another video game? Yakuza game.
Any Yakuza game at this point, honestly.
Any Yakuza game is a video game, and that's why people like it. I think those people are tapping into why people like games. Just these, this is a video game. Video games. I don't really care about the cinematics.
Mm-hmm.
Another video game, Vanquish. That is a video game.
You know,
Vanquish.
there's messaging in it a little bit. It's, you know.
Okay, you ever played Anarchy Reigns?
No, I haven't played it.
Mad World?
No.
You never played Mad World? Okay, so I'll show you. Mad World is a video game. Video game.
Mm.
How could we forget Saints Row? That's one.
Yeah.
Another one, Just Cause. Video
Especially
game.
Just Cause, yeah.
Video game.
Physics the game.
Okay. Dead to Rights was a video game.
Mm.
Dead to Rights was a video game. Max Payne, you know, it was a video game, but it was definitely a story.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, some of them kind of, but that's,
yeah.
But I think your general point, which I'm in agreement with, I think it's just like we kind of forget, and it's
Duke
to some degree.
Video game.
Yeah, we kind of forget, and it's somewhat not our fault as the consumer because, like you said before, the push for this crossover universe is killing what makes a game now, because it's like it has to be also be able to serve as a movie or some type of like entertainment component, or otherwise you can't do it. It's like games are a medium of escapism to a certain
Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yeah. It's not there for you to, if there's depth there, great. But that's not what it's intended for, right? It's just intended to be a fun gameplay loop. When I'm playing on Marvel Rivals, again, I was never really an Overwatch kind of guy. So this whole thing of like, yes, I want to be competent, but I'm like, I did not get on this game to take this seriously. So when you're sitting there going 05 Modern Warfare in the voice chat, what you're saying, I don't care. We're gonna lose this match because you're a crazy person, and I'm gonna log off. Like it's like I'm not sitting here looking for the drastic connection of what the story is bringing me.
No, I think people want video games again, man. That's what's selling.
Mm.
And I agree with you 100%. Like, I've gotten tired of cinematic, like Monster Hunter World. I liked it because it was a video game.
Mm.
I like the fact that I pull out my 1,700-pound barbecue steak slab and I'm watching it, and my character is rubbing his hands. I love that. I love that because it was like a prehistoric form of comedy. I like the fact there are cats cooking my steak, cooking my engine after that T-Rex thigh, slabbering it up with butter and oregano. I like that. I wanted a video game. I don't want to. My family. No, like I don't care, man. Let's get to this something. Like Monster Hunter doesn't need to be Jurassic Park World 3. It don't got to. It don't need to have an in-depth story. It could be a very campy story. Okay, I saved this kid XYZ, but Courage of the Cowardly Dog ending. Bravo. It could be just that, and it's fine. It could be Powerpuff Girls ending. You know what I'm saying? It could be that. It could be a Dexter's Lab ending. Yes, like conflict.
Finish. But I think the overarching thing that might, like, I can already kind of see the pushback to some of the things that we're saying in terms of like, I think what doesn't help, of course, like I said, is a desire for it to be a shared universe, right? Where you're crafting a world. I think the other thing that doesn't help is the turnaround time, right? I think like it's a little bit easier to give certain things a pass when there's a 2-year wait, a 3-year wait. Now we're getting half the console cycle to get a game. So, for even though me thinking, yeah, I thought Marvel Spider-Man 2 was pretty good, right? I would still recommend someone to play it, at least. For somebody who was like, I didn't play Miles Morales, so I've been waiting on a Spider-Man game since 2018. I could see why you'd be more upset than me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of where my brain is like, I see the other side a little bit from the aspect of like, well, if I'm waiting 4, 5, 6 years for Courage the Cowardly Dog in game form, like I don't know, right? Like,
No, but that's just that can also like you can still get what you want, but it doesn't have to be to the point where it's cinematic. That's not an evidence that the game's going to be good at all.
mm,
It's the gameplay.
mm,
Okay, how do we make this gameplay more in depth, more rich, more fun? Okay, the environment. We did this for the environments. Okay, you know what? I realized the environments having a personality is just as important as the gameplay. How do we make this happen? What happens when this animal gets to this part where now he has the advantage and you don't? These things make that's why we like movies. That's why we like the suspense, the possibilities of like, let's build a world to where if this happens, this happens. If it's raining here, this has happened, but this animal's ears and senses are heightened, but it can't
mm,
see as well. So, like those things, that's what I would like to see more of. And then now people are like, yo, we don't know what's gonna happen. Can't wait to see what's gonna happen in
mm,
this one stage. And then, but guess what? There's a whole world. I wonder what's gonna happen with an ice stage. The desert. Man, we can't move in sand that much. Oh, snap, it's quicksand. What happens if we, stuff
mm,
like that? Like
mm,
Monster Hunter there could have been parts to where, there's a giant lake, right? And then now we gotta go across the sea with this, we got to go across this lake, and the lake is as big as it can be, and we fight the monster there on special equipment. And then if the monster knocks us out, we can still fight, of course, but
mm.
we got to get to another part of we get to this piece of rock to where we can manipulate it with our weapons. There's things you could have did, you know. Okay, man, we had so much fun playing. Why don't we fight this bird on a bridge? On a bridge, like a prehistoric bridge, and where you can see nothing but gray. And after that, the bridge snaps, and now you're in a different area, you're fighting the animal. Those things are,
But I think that takes a level of commitment, right? So like what I keep hearing about split
but that
fiction, which
saves time, right?
yeah,
So
no, that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like I think one of the things that like what I was gonna say, like I keep hearing about split fiction is that split fiction keeps introducing new gameplay mechanics. Right. One of the things that makes Astrobot so engaging is that every level or level and a half or so, you're getting a brand new gaming mechanic. So like you said, it's like even if it's not the biggest world, right? It's not the most graphically dense world. It's an engaging world. It's an experience of like, I know when I see this marker or whatever the case may be, environmental hazard warning sign, I'm like, oh, something about to happen that I could not have ever prepared for.
Okay. Well, there's a game that had interactive that you can engage with just by running. What do you call that game? Give
I'm
me a
not.
game to where you engage the world by running.
I mean, the first game that comes to mind when it comes to engaging environments has to be Sleeping Dogs. To me,
Okay.
and not
Give
just
me a
by
game to
running,
where you're
but
running at
it's
high
just
speeds and you're engaging the world.
Sonic.
There you go.
Mm,
Simple gameplay mechanic, but it works.
mm.
And we just want to go faster and faster. We want to go on that loop de loop 3 times and then press A. Oh, we finally got it. Yes. We want to go on that loop de loop. Oh, there's another alternate route. That's because I hit this speed marquee.
Mm.
Okay, stuff like that. Even though it was a lot simpler version, but for us at that time, it was the Eggman missions, the tail these, the Eggman missions, the Tails missions. Eggman missions was so fire where you're losing using the laser and just dot, 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 and the missiles come out.
Mm.
Change the gameplay.
Mm.
Knuckles searching for the Master Emerald, but the gameplay was robust and it was great. And they wind up working with each other because it all gave a gameplay loop to where you don't just get constantly bored. Now you have
Mm.
stuff that you prefer, but they were so good in their own right that you don't mind doing them each
Right.
and over. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
with Monster Hunter, you have your weapons that could do that for you. It's like their split fiction's proving a point. Astro Bot is proving a point. Ratchet and Clank's proving a point.
Mm.
Why people keep coming to these games? Because they're fun and they're addictive. Why am I addicted to this game? I don't know. But then people, I can tell you why. They did this, this, and this. The weapons for Ratchet and Clank are so fun that you don't mind, and they're animation spectacles. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't. You have to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it
I
again.
did that in real time. Oh.
When you play a Donkey Kong game, what's your favorite mission to look forward to?
I haven't played a Donkey Kong game in a while.
But when you did, when you was a kid, what was your favorite thing about Donkey Kong? What did
My
you want to
favorite,
do as a kid
my
seeing
personal
Donkey Kong?
favorite thing with Donkey Kong, um, as a kid, would be when you're like midway through the stage and you find your Rhino buddy, and now you're just
That's one.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's one.
yeah.
You know what it was for me?
Mm,
The barrels,
mm,
the cannon barrels.
mm,
Never seen anything like it. You're on the little broken railroad abandoned mining station. You
mm,
jump into a barrel, bomb, bomb, bomb. You go to a different area.
yeah,
We didn't need that,
yeah.
but they gave it to us.
Mm-hmm.
These things make games fun. You have to give me something to where I can only get it out of your world.
Yeah.
I can only get Grand Theft Auto out of Grand Theft Auto. I can only get Mario out of Mario. I
Mm,
can only get Sonic out of Sonic. These things, that's every video game technically, but some video games do it within their identity the best.
yeah.
Um, if
Which
that Battlefield is what it's supposed to be, best believe I'm not touching Call of Duty. That
mm,
new Battlefield gameplay that I'm seeing, if it looks anything like that, I'm gonna be right there
mm,
with the 17-year-olds, with the 14-year-olds.
mm.
I'm gonna be right there with the ex-Navy snipers. Hey, now go ahead and take a breath, Jory. I got you. Leader two, leader one. We're moving it. Yeah, I'm gonna be right there with that Navy veteran.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because they make you get to that world. You know what I'm saying? They introduce you to that world. They make that world what it's supposed to be. Monster Hunter, I like it, but it doesn't feel as much as it should be. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my little like Dragon's Dogma 2. I don't even most claustrophobic game you'll ever play. Most claustrophobic open world game I've ever played in my life.
Mm.
Frustrating because of what they presented to me. I'm in the medieval times and I can't ride a horse.
Yeah, I mean that to me, it's like it's actually a good segue for our next topic. But it's true. Like you have to be able to, the immersion has to be there, right? So our next topic, essentially, our last topic of big gaming news, at least, was we spoke last week about Bleach Rebirth of Souls, and it comes out by the time this podcast is out, it'll be out basically.
Hmm.
And it's interesting because I see even on the clip that we released of talking about it, like the little segments that we dropped, someone was like 33 characters, yawn emoji. And I was like, so I haven't got a response to I commented back and I was like, not even in a judging way. I was like, you don't think that's enough for the first entry in a game series? So that's the reason why I want to bring up as a topic, because I'm like, is there a general consensus of agreement when it comes to what makes a good anime game? And I say that also because in terms of what I've been playing, I guess because they announced the Diamond expansion, Dragon Ball Kakarot slashed the prices of their season 2 DLC. So I'm like, all right, I got it on my Switch. I am kind of curious to see what they did with this DLC. Let me buy it. And I'm like, man, this is okay as far as a Dragon Ball Z RPG, but it's not what I would have expected. But it's also like it's the only one kind of doing this thing in this way, other than that One Piece game that came out like a few years ago of like an RPG-esque experience. So I guess like my question again is like, what is acceptable when it comes to anime fighting games, anime RPGs? Like to me, I'm like a Tekken 8 roster out the gate from an anime game in this time.
I think there's just like an unconscious assumption that's like underlined, and we all talk about it. We know we're not going to get that level of depth. So why isn't there more characters?
Mm, that's a good
You
point.
get what I'm saying?
That's a great point,
And
actually.
so if Ichigo has 2 button commands, 3 button commands like the Cydia, You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Where you have the options like the Cydia, but this is the Cydia with Bleach characters. I'm not saying nothing. If we get a 30 roster, that's perfect. I already know how much time you put into this.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done Bleach like the Cydia. I think the Cydia, people say what you want. That's a great basis to make a good arena fighting
Be
game
clear, Dissidia on the PSP.
on the PSP. Yes, sorry, that's the only one I
Yeah,
know.
no, because there was a console version. People were like, "What? The
Yeah,
PSP and the
PSP
PSP
Dissidia.
sequel?" Yeah.
PSP the city. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I think that makes the most sense, you know. You had a lot of options there. You could even use magic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like I would have did that with Bleach. You know, I
Customizable
don't think
moves.
customizable moves, man. Like your Ichigo don't feel like mine. I don't gotta do 57 different Ichigos.
Mm,
If you want to use that Ichigo with the Getsuga, have at thee.
mm,
You know, and there's a workaround there. Okay, wait, the Ichigo because the only character, the certain characters that can't transform, they could do this.
exa- What's funny when I was thinking about this, like I know that obviously the Storm series has become the go-to essentially for Naruto,
And it
and
shouldn't be. It should be for Naruto.
no, not even that. There used to be a time because I've been playing it since it was, the PS2 series. And as we all know, there used to be the Class of Ninja series on the GameCube. And to me, the Ninja Storm or sorry, the Ninja Hero, I think is what it was originally called, used to be a lot better because they had to try to keep up with Clash of Ninja. Clash of Ninja, not the same amount of roster, not the same amount of spectacle, but every single character played differently. Like you said, the Naruto you pick from what's it called, pre time skip is going to play a lot differently from the Naruto that I pick from Shippuden. Completely different mechanics. And like I'm like, I kind of enjoy Clash of Ninja gameplay a little bit better. There's more depth, but it kind of fell victim to the lack of spectacle. Right? You can't argue the ultimates you were seeing in the Ninja Storm series. Like you just can't. Like
No, you
there's
can't.
there's just like when you see Guy and Lee going through all the gates and your opponent is getting knocked around, it's like it does look pretty. I'm not gonna hold you. Like,
No, no. But yeah, that's why I think that people feel that way because I'm looking at it like, but Dragon Ball Z got this much characters, but we know we're not going to get depth out of Dragon Ball Z,
mm-hmm,
you know, or like even okay, your best case scenario, even if you gave it depth, is it going to be as deep as Super Smash Brothers? You know, Super
mm-hmm,
Smash Brothers has simple ease of use, but has extreme levels of mastery.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And is your game doing any of that mechanic wise? We know it's not there, even though we can't verbalize it.
Right.
And so that's why, only 30 characters. Tekken 8 has XYZ, but Tekken 8 is college level of depth. I don't care. That's what I'm saying subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
If that's never made aware to me, so that's what I think. It's just an underlying like, yo, that's easy. That's child's play, man. Add some more.
No, I agree with you. I think that like you said, like I think the point you made is like we feel it, but we don't acknowledge it is really like kind of on the marker, right? So like for example, Jujutsu Kaisen game that came out, that Arena Fighter, it didn't sell well, but it had all the characters I guess you could ask for, right? Because it was a very poorly designed, rushed arena fighter. So to me, it's kind of like you can't say like, oh well, I'm here for the roster. I'm like, you had all the roster you wanted. You had your Sukuna, you had all the characters you wanted, and nobody bought it. Why? Because the gameplay was surface level water of death. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, I'm like, I get it that not everything has to be Dragon Ball Fighters level for everybody, but in my mind, I'm like, why can't these two things exist? Like the only thing that I've said about the Bleach game coming out, I'm like, I do think there's some weird omissions from the roster, and I do think some of the supers are a little bit lacking. But for a more visually tailored game like Sparking Zero, there's still some of the visuals that are a little lacking. So even on that end, like I'm still not fully getting the things that you're critiquing this other game for not having. That's why I'm kind of curious. I'm like, fighting game wise, like, does it have to be a 40 character roster? Would that have been too little? Right? Is
I think everything's going to be compared to Dragon Ball Z Zero, Sparking Zero.
but that's there. That
No,
doesn't.
but no, but I mean it is though. So because they can finally, it's anime fans versus anime fans. You know, if I'm going to be extreme, this is just an extreme take though.
Mm,
Um, you finally get my Bleach game. Doesn't have more characters than this series and that series. That's the only way I could assume. Because that's where that response is coming from. Because I'm like, I mean, this game looks like it's deep enough,
hmm
you know. Um, and you know there's character packs coming out.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I'm shocked actually. But for what anime games, usually the roster should be. I always expect the roster to be 30, 40, 50 plus, like first day. You know,
But that's why I asked that question, because I think to me, it just depends on the genre of game, right? Like,
and the depth and the
yeah,
graphics. It's like everybody knows that this doesn't. Everybody can look at a Grand Theft Auto and knew that took time to make. Everybody can look at a
yes,
Mortal Kombat game and like, yo, this took some time and effort to make.
yes,
And there's a lot of games that say that. Street Fighter 6. If I look at Street Fighter 6 and 5, I'm gonna assume Street Fighter 6 took way longer to make than 5.
mm,
And so because of that, you know, there's just that underlying, well, this thing looks like a cartoon, it's cell shading. My brother says cell shading just takes less time. So, you know, whatever information I can hear from my friend or XYZ, I'll take it as truth. Because why would they lie to me? And he already does this. He draws a little bit. He makes a
mm,
little bit of video games on the side.
mm,
He says those takes the longest to make. We had a teacher from Take Your Child to Work Day. He said the same thing. So, man, let me go spread this gospel across the world.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just an underlying thing. What if he's into forms, or the person purchasing this is into forms? That could happen. Um, I think everybody knows that it just doesn't take as long to make.
Yeah,
And so,
that's a great point. Like, I think, for example, you look at CyberConnect 2, like, they have their audience even to this day, but I think, like you said, that it's that unspoken thing of, like, to some degree, I'm trading depth for spectacle, and I have to be okay with that. It'll be a pretty kind of on model visual show, and that's about it. Tanjiro's going to do these 3 combos, and that is it. He's
oh
going to
my
water breathe about
gosh.
3 different with 3 different endings, and that's it. That's it. Whereas, like, again, like, you look at like a fighters, like you said, it's like there's I don't know if you've ever seen some of those reference videos where they kind of compare what the movesets were. It's like you said, to the panel, bro. This is the punch Gohan threw against Boo. This is the kick he used against Cell. The uppercut I'm like, bro,
Oh, that
what?
elbow he did from Final Bout. Vegeta's fist clinch came from what? The Prince of All Saiyans once again. The Toonami reference,
Mm-hmm.
the American cut version of Dragon Ball Z. They went to that
Mm-hmm.
and drew inspiration from. You knew that took time. Some people, and because of that, you have the byproduct of people just turning on the game just to look at it because they knew it took time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure, like even with not like yeah, everybody knows subconsciously that those things took time.
Mm.
So that's why people getting the that's why it's getting the respect that it gets. Kind of like how Madden gets the respect it gets. Oh, okay, I
Eh.
can afford to miss this one.
Yeah, I'm like, it
But
had respect at one point.
NAACP, I can't. We've
But
been waiting for this for how long? I can't miss this opportunity again. Are you crazy? I'm
mm-hmm.
taking it.
And EA knew they had to try. They had to try. You don't revive this series and don't try. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And I actually enjoy college football and basketball more than I do the actual NBA now.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that because I
Yeah.
don't really care for the superstars that's out there in the NBA anymore. So
Mm.
I'd rather see this 19-year-old kid do a 3 from outside the arena. I
Because
just
he still has that hunger.
he still has. I just rather see him do it. Yeah.
Mm.
You
No,
know,
I,
so
I I understand. I mean, it's just I think it's just something where I'm like, now the anime games have started to kind of like have their resurgence. It's like I think that it's still like it's interesting because like it's another case of it applies when it applies, right? Of like the same thing that you are kind of like people will kind of rag on. I don't know. I can't think of any anime fight or whatever. Like they're gonna rag
My
on
Hero Academia,
My Hero Academia, right? It's like
One Punch Man,
right, but it's like, but then you're like
but no
copping,
JoJo's
please,
Bizarre Adventure.
right? Or you just ignore the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game that came out of like they actually made a decent combat system here, and it's from CyberConnect too. They actually tried, and everyone's like, yeah, it's like what?
No, I think with that it's just the timing, like because they say, "Oh, is this a new game?" No, it's not. It's an old game remade, and that kind of just, you
That's a
know,
fair point. That's a fair
yeah,
point.
and it's nothing like it's Marvel versus Capcom. You get what I'm saying?
But
It's
even with
nothing.
the Marvel vs. Capcom, like that Hunter x Hunter Net Impact is basically Marvel vs. Capcom, and everyone's like, yeah, no.
Oh, I mean,
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I feel like it applies when it applies. Of like,
no,
if
it applies with it like that, bro, yo, like. Once I saw Buddy in the suit do one of these gestures, I said, "Yeah, yo, animation, yo, you not smoking Marvel vs. Capcom in
yeah,
animation, and
yeah,
you in 3D, you
yeah,
dog, bro, you looking like, yeah, you looking like Ultraman from the Netflix special, the stiff old,
you're looking like we're in the Dreamcast era still.
yeah, bro, you look like you Mortal Kombat 4 Jarek when he
Yeah,
walking up on
yeah.
Katana, kid. You know what I'm saying? Jarek when he walked up on Sonya. You'll never take me in, Sonya. I'm not there.
Yeah, yeah,
Serves you right.
yeah.
And then Jarek coming out with the Heihachi ending, he just pulling Sonya off. Sonya falls.
Mm,
I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you that ending, though.
okay. Yeah,
You get ready.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's what it's a weird thing because I'm like, there's certain things of like, again, it applies when it applies. Like you said, My Hero Academia, they kind of like nitpick at. Even though I'd argue, even though my one's justice wasn't really for me, I don't think they were bad made games. Like the criticism that it gets, I don't feel was as warranted compared to the passes they give to other games.
They
To me,
even made a battle royale, My Hero Academia, that's free to play. It went.
it was up, and then nobody talks about it.
You want to know why? Because the story is nobody talks about it. That's what killed it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now they learned story matters.
It always matters.
No. Now they know.
Oh,
Story
gotcha.
matters.
I'm like, it's always been the one non-negotiable.
Yeah, like just like lyrics matters.
Yeah.
And what's the prime example of that is Lavelle, whatever his name is, Lavelle Ball's sons.
I mean, he had a couple bops, and
No, what he song? What that song sound like though? The lyrics, the
oh,
cadence.
2002 Big Timers.
That's
Everybody
and
get your
people
roll on. Number one stunner, still fly. This is
and
how we do it.
repeated lyrics, repeated hook, and boom, there you go.
Yep. Will we be
Now
talking about him this
everybody's
time
saying
next year? Probably not.
probably not, right?
Yeah.
We- mm. And there
Um.
was another young rapper before that doing it, Christian Dior, young Pop Smoke. He sounded like, yo, wait, you're not from this era. Why this music hit? He followed a formula that is unbreakable,
Yep.
and people didn't know they needed it.
Yep.
But
The
again,
hook's catchy, and he's kind of saying something.
he had me like, yo, I think this is my favorite young rapper right
Yeah,
now, man.
he's kind of saying something. It's a little
Yeah,
ignorant,
yeah.
but he kind of saying something right now.
And he's only 29. Now he's only 22. Yeah,
Yeah.
hey, well, let him be, right?
Let him live, yeah. I guess a real quick back to formula, since you kind of got most of it out your system when we were talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows.
We need to take the whole line back to formula.
Back to formula.
We both kind of agreed pre-show that, like, yo, the grifting community, you've lost the plot, yo. It's over now. Yeah, y'all got to go back to formula and figure out what it is exactly that you're angry about, because I've never seen such consistent goalpost moving from a community the way they move that goalpost. And then when you point out the inconsistencies, they're like, well, even if that's true, I'm still mad about this. And you're just like, bro, but you was just on a campaign for 2 months straight about.
I mean, I know, like it goes back to what I was saying before. It's just a trickle event of everybody being frustrated with, and this happened to be the person at the end of your customer line that you were having a bad day while you were ringing up customers. And so this was going on for a span of months. You told your manager, hey, can I do this? No. Hey, this happens with this customer again. I'm not going to be blamed for this again. And until one day you just snap. It happens, and I'm not giving, again, it goes back to what I'm saying, like be mindful of what you're saying, because when you say certain terms, you can't be responsible for how people view you later.
Yeah, and then act like you didn't
say anything, incite that, and you meant every piece and every word. Now that you had time to think, you're like, yo, maybe I should have said this a little better during the season. It's too late. You are that person. And why would we meet you with the same level of negligence you had for yourself? So we're gonna be negligent too. And so certain terms you're saying, like, you have the right to say whatever you want. I'm gonna say it, and I'm like, why would you? That's not you, though. You don't agree with those racist people, so don't use the same verbiage.
Right.
I don't care if you call me a racist. Then boom, you've already made yourself. You already dubbed yourself that. How are you? If you really want meaningful dialogue, take the meaningful dialogue. Yes, you're gonna meet a couple of wackos and quacks. There's people that I don't agree with that are my skin color, and they're gonna go. They're gonna say things that are outlandish, and I do not agree because you're wrong, right? With this was a trickle effect of many. Like I don't personally like. We don't like certain character inserts.
Of course,
give us a new character.
There's valid points that they're making. Like I don't want to sit there and say like everything you're saying has no basis. I'm like, there's certain things that like to your point. I'm gonna let you continue, but like that's just the thing of like, you're not, some of these things that the critiques that they're making, like, you're not off in what you're saying. I understand how we got here, but go ahead.
But yeah, now I understand how we got here, but now you just saying it because you don't like it because of the tone of the person, the skin tone of the person, not the merits of the thing actually being good or bad. So now if you have people that are looking at the back and forth, I think I'm gonna side with this person because this person really just I feel like they hate me. I'm gonna be because you didn't care to verbalize your words. I'm not gonna care to make a decision. It sounds stupid, but that's the return you get for your level of due diligence.
Right. So
it's equal exchange. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I wanted you to have a better answer. I was rooting for you until you said, "Yeah, man," and this is what I'm like. Oh, you had a great point. If you really meant what you said, you would have watched how you said it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's who you are, but
it's not right. It's not a full accurate reflection of who you are. But
yeah,
like you said, like, so for example, that screenshot I sent you earlier when I was brainstorming some of the topics, where it's like, here it is, you have this YouTuber who's prominent in that community who was tricked into false reporting an Assassin's Creed delay because somebody was like, I'm gonna test his source checking, and sent him an email saying, hey, this is an inside, like, this is basically like a disgruntled Ubisoft employee. They're thinking about delaying the game again. But he took it, ran with it, ran straight to YouTube, only for the guy to be like, "You don't cite your sources. I got you in 4K now."
You just wanted to hate.
Right. So it's like, even if this is a one-off and you normally cite your sources, it don't come across that way to you, me, the general public, because the thumbnail was ready as soon as you got the email.
The thumbnail was ready as soon as and then so like I used to, let's say I used to be the guy. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. This is what it is. I'll say whatever about a race of people, a woman's ability to do XYZ. In hindsight, I may have not been able to feel that. I may have not really felt that way, but that's exactly what I said at the time, and at that time, I meant it.
Mm-hmm.
So what does this change? You can dub me a woman hater at that time, or you can dub me. I meant what I said, but I said that out of ignorance. Now that I understand a little bit more, maybe I should have said it this way. But you already had that option. The time it was proposed, and you didn't take it.
Yeah. Or
you had the opportunity to cite your sources.
Yeah.
And you didn't do it.
Or I think at the very least, you can at least take accountability and acknowledgement of like, you know what? That's on me. But I never see that from them. But continue. I've never seen it. I've never seen them be like, you know what? I was wrong. Never.
So now that I cited my sources, so now that I know that you didn't cite your sources, there's a part of me that really confirmed, like, hey, you absolutely want to hate people like this. So, well, I'm not going to listen to anything you have to say anymore. Oh man, I can't believe. Oh man, yo, you guys can unsubscribe if you want to. Da da da. Like, yeah, now that you have 10 subscribers, hey guys, look, hey, I was wrong. Hey, I'm sorry. Like, try not to take things that way. If you knew you didn't do anything wrong, then that's different. But if there's people, a lot of people that watch you don't watch you because they're still making a decision.
Yeah.
About you. Some of the stuff you said, it was a gray area, so they themselves couldn't get mad. So I said, okay, we'll see. But now certain stuff is icing on the cake. I'm out of here. And that's the thing. Like, I would love for those people to still say, I know what YouTubers are talking about, to still voice their opinions. You have great valid points, but I'm never gonna listen to somebody I know wants to throw an arrow at me secretly. I'm just not going to listen to you because there's nothing, even if you only weaponize the points you make, it's not coming from a place where you want me to actually grow and change. So,
if it fuels a narrative, any type of discernment, any type of.
Yeah, it's like getting news from that guy named Nick Fuentes. Like, bro, I'm not listening to you, kid. You know what I'm saying? Kanye, I'm not going to listen to any music that you're saying. It's at this point, why am I going to listen to you?
Yeah.
You making black skinhead didn't bother me. You were given a deep reflection at that point. I said, okay, but now you
raised an eyebrow or two for me personally. I'm like,
no, I mean,
okay.
I know this is the same guy that wants to, be controversial at the VMAs, but why am I going to take advice from you when you got a whole naked created character, modded character running around? So you got a whole modded character with the settings off. You know what I'm saying? You got your whole pawn from Dragon's Dogma just running around, kid, with no armor. You feel me? No armor, dog. Created character, bust size 99.
Maximum, yeah.
Bust size.
What's 99 the limit? Put it right there.
with the shine at 99. You feel me? Like, I can't take you serious. There's nothing you gonna say that's gonna make me. Even though I want to like, even though I still don't hate you.
Yeah.
I don't hate you. I don't. It's just I'm looking at it like it's unfortunate. A lot of these YouTubers, I like Caucasian YouTubers, I don't think they're that person, right? But I said, like, the verbiage you use, how you talk, you sound like those people that don't like me. when you keep saying you don't care and you don't care, might as well just group you too. You just didn't. Fine, you want me to say it? I'm like, but dog, bro, you have control over who you are. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to take the route of the people that get on. You can reply to them and give a good rebuttal. Treat yourself like you present yourself. That's all I'm saying. You know, um, there's a lot of stuff that I agree with. I'm not a fan of the girl boss. I wasn't a fan of the girl boss movement because for me, the women that I like, they won as women. They won on the woman difficulty. Yeah, they won as Aerith. They won as Tifa. You know, they won as Kasumi without the bust size.
Right.
As a character, she's decent. If you don't focus on her extremities, you know. Cammy, dope.
Chun-Li,
dope. Juri, dope. Who else is dope? Marissa, so a woman, but she dope. You know, she got her own personality. These women are cool. Kimberly, dope. Rose from Street Fighter, fire.
hate how she plays, but she's a
Oh
fire
yeah, I hate
design.
how she plays, but she's fire design. The concept of her fighting with a ribbon is not as beast, you know.
the ham on the ham on scarf.
Yeah, hormone scarf. You feel me, lady Mona Lisa? You feel me?
Lisa.
Lisa. You know what I'm saying?
Gypsy breathing.
That's fire. Sailor Moon and the Sailor Scouts, fire. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I like that version of storytelling. Like, you know, you had so many good characters. You had Blossom, the actual show Blossom with that character. You could make a character from that sitcom or from that show. You could make a character from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Bro, all the guys I knew watched Powerpuff Girls and felt no ways.
And felt no way because it was wrong. It was wrong, kid. You know my favorite episode of Powerpuff Girls? The Boogeyman. Blame it on the book. I'm like, yo, they got these references so right.
That I don't care who the protagonists are. You know, like
I don't care who protagonists are, man.
Bubbles is gonna hug her pet octopus and elbow drop. You know, what's his name? Country Bumpkin off the Eiffel Tower. Like,
Fuzzy Lumpkins.
Fuzzy Lumpkins. She's still gonna put him through a cliffside. I'm like, okay.
when Blossom exposes Seducer, I'm like, dog, this joke funny, man. Dog, this joke funny, man.
And we can't forget him.
I don't even want to say him. Yo, that was the most diabolical character ever created, dog. Diabolical, dog. Just straight anarchy.
Hey, Powerpuff Girls.
And you hear 7 voices, dog. Oh. Yo. You know, like you had like Buttercup was my favorite one. You feel me?
Of course, but that's what I'm saying. Like
that fake Spawn episode where she was reading the Spawn comics. But
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I think that's the whole thing of like, people are to, I guess, round up the topic. Like, I think, like, to your point, it's like there is space for you guys to critique and for people to get behind some of the points you're making without isolating yourself to a point where I'm like, even though you're right, you're wrong. So I can't. I have to look at you like an idiot. I have to, like, because you won't stop yourself. Otherwise, you'll keep going. So even like with your Kanye comparison, is like, even if there's a sliver of truth in here, there's so much nonsense that I can't bring myself to even agree with that sliver of truth. I can't.
Because the nonsense almost terminates itself because it's not coming from a place to where you actually want it to matter. You just want to be vindictive.
Yeah.
And you can do that with anything.
Yeah.
You can do that with anything. That's my point. You can do that with anything. So why not let it have merit?
Yeah.
You know,
for the people who are going to be like, oh, whatever, I guess, backlash I get from our takes on Death Stranding, like, I'm gonna double down in my truth. I'm not saying it's trash. I just don't like being mail carrier of the game. I don't care what the story is.
Yeah, like, yo, from Kojima, I did not want simulation.
It's that simple. You don't have to agree. But hey,
And if Toriyama was about to tell me, yo, Cell second form is perfect Cell, hey, and I know that Cell perfect form exists, hey, veto homie and give me the real perfect Cell that fought Gohan.
it was like after Demon Slayer ended in the manga, right? And the author came out and she said that, well, you know, these breathing forms, they're not actual elements. Rengoku can't start a fire with his sword. And the fan base basically told her, you don't know what you're talking about. Because in my mind, I'm like, I get it. I get that Tanjiro probably can't drink the water he's making from his sword. But if they're using demon art, sickles of flying blood, you're telling me a regular blade and superhuman speed is cutting through all that?
Or unless that's
How?
imaginary sickle blood.
Right? It's an imaginary demon art.
Yeah. But that's what happens when you ain't got nobody talking to you, dog. You feel me? You ain't got no Swiss beat saying, nah, homie.
Yeah, this ain't
This
not
not
gonna
the
work
beat for that. It's not the beat for that.
Oh my goodness.
So get that dirt off your soldiers. You're not gonna get that Jay-Z reaction.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You're not gonna get that Jay-Z reaction.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's our back to formula. Hold on, let me pause this real quick. I think
Yeah.
Am I like jittering at all? I'm jittering.
Yeah, you looking like that Kojima puppet.
What's good, people? Antonius DaGamer here. Unfortunately, Super SS Rank and I were not able to complete the episode due to unexpected technical difficulties. It had already been a rough week, a rough day, and then my computer just decided it wanted to quit on the spot, and we weren't able to finish the rest of this week's episode. Our apologies. We'll try to have it ironed out for next time. You know, tech when it works and it wants to, and when it doesn't, you're kind of done. But hope you guys enjoyed the episode up until this point, and we'll see you next time.